In this lesson, we're going to cover how to create a table. A table can be used for multiple purposes. It can be used to place in information in regards from an iPart, an iAssembly. We can bring in data from an existing Excel spreadsheet, or we can create a blank table and place our own data in. The file that I have open is views.idw, but it can be any specific drawing file that you want. It doesn't really matter. In this case, I'm also going to change over to the annotation panel. And if you scroll on down, looking for the table tool, and in the dialog box here, you can select a specific view. So again, if this was based on an iPart or an iAssembly, we could pull some information off of that. If I wanted to, in this case, I'm going to also navigate back out. And in the Chapter 5 exercise folder, there's an Excel spreadsheet called Material Cost. I want to bring that information in. So I'm just going to open that. And now it's telling me what cell do I want that data to start. In this case, I'm going to start off with cell A2. And column is going to be number 1. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And we'll place that table in. If I zoom back up here, you can see that it's a pretty simple Excel table at this point. So if I wanted to modify how that looks, I can just double click on that. And here I can go back and make some information in regards to the number of columns. If I wanted to go back and add some, I could definitely do that. In this case, it probably doesn't make any sense since it's coming from an Excel spreadsheet. I could go back and sort these if I wanted to. I could export this if I needed to take it back out to a different file format. As you can see that there are a whole bunch of different file formats that you can output. We can also modify the table layout. So in this case, maybe I don't want to have a label on it, so I'm going to take the title back out, but we can also here modify the text information that's coming back in here. Do I want to have it go to the top or to the bottom with the new rows, the headers, and so forth. In this case, just going to go ahead and click OK. And you'll see that the table has now been changed. If I expand this in the sheet, you'll also see that I have some information in the browser in regards to this XLS. So there is a link here. That's what I want to show next. I'm going to go back to the Excel spreadsheet, and what I want to do is I'm going to add another row. So let's say that the silver one is going to cost $600, and this is going to be from company XYZ. I'm going to go ahead and save that, and we'll close out of the Excel spreadsheet. Now what I want to do is right click and click on Update, and you'll see that information has been updated into my table. So that was pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. Now what I want to do is I want to create another table, one that's going to be blank, or also referred to as an empty one, and here it is by default. Again, just clicked on the table tool, so there's no view to select from this drop-down list. It's my only option at this point. So now what I'm going to do is designate how many columns and rows. So let's go with 5 columns and 3 rows. Go ahead and click OK. And I've just created an empty spreadsheet, if you will, or an empty table. I can double click on that again, and here's where I can now type in all my information that I wanted to. And everything that I was able to do before with that Excel spreadsheet, I can go back and do here as well. If you want, you can also go back and modify the style. So everything in Inventor is pretty much controlled by a style, and edit the table style. This could also be done from the Format pull-down menu as well. But under the table, you can see that we have our style setting right here. So this is where you can designate the specific column widths. That will be your defaults. And again, make sure that you have privileges to write this back to the standard library, so it'll be utilized for every table that you create. Otherwise, if you make that change, it will only be designated for the specific file that you're currently in.